Hey everybody, Jason Bermas here. It's time for some mixed martial mindset with my boy John Fitch, the smashiest human being on the face of the earth. Mr. Smash, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Had a good restful weekend and ready to get after this week. Things are picking up. Kids are back in school. Oh man.
Is that me?
Yeah, that was
That was some
I
kind of
didn't
like
hit
a
mute.
weird.
Yeah, it was a trip. Like a deja vu.
That was, dude. I've had the weirdest technical issues today. So just before we get going,
Well,
first of all,
my camera has been acting weird too. My learn to fight videos. I made a few and I didn't check my sound equipment ahead of time, so went back to the playing in just one ear thing. Like the equipment resets itself, so I got to keep rechecking before I record every time now. And then my camera, it just switched back now, but like it was super dark, like you could barely see me last night.
huh?
I got to turn the light up right.
I so
Stuff's just possessed.
I got a text earlier today. There's this woman that booked a couple people when I was over at the Clay Clark event, and I'm like all ready to go, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm ready tonight. It's at 6 o'clock tonight. Blah 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 blah. At least my time, 7 p.m. Central. And then she had booked somebody a month from today for noon. Only she didn't book it a month from today. It was booked here. So I actually thought I was on some other interview that I'm not having until the 15th. So I start doing my thing, and I'm like, hey, that's no problem. We'll just do two videos. We'll have them both on today, different times. I go to set up my Rumble on Google, and I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but Rumble is suing Google. Okay, they're suing them for a non-compete clause. I didn't even see this story. It's one of the ones that I haven't covered at length, where I really feel that we should cover it. Let's see if this is working right now. It is. Rumble's antitrust lawsuit against Google can proceed, says judge. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it will not let me log into Rumble, guys. Not on Chrome at all. In fact, we're going to do it live here on the show just to show everybody that I'm not in Johnny Nonsenseville. We're gonna bring up the URL right here. So this is Chrome, as everybody can see. I'm gonna type in Rumble. Okay, now you can see it says rumble.com there. Watch, I'll be able to log in all of a sudden. No, nothing. So then, check this out. So I'll hit Rumble, and I'll just search it. So we search it, and I hit rumble.com, and it tells me it's not secure. Now, I've gone into my settings, as was asked of me in this, and I've reset it. Didn't work. Still can't log in. That's why we're not streaming to Rumble right now. I'm going to log in on a different browser after this and put that up. Wow. Seems very bizarre to me. So what I did is I also uninstalled all of Chrome, and I reinstalled it. Same problem. Now, I don't know what's going on, guys, but I can tell you this. I haven't had this many problems in a long time. I'm going to have to reset my entire computer tonight, which is a pain in the ass. That means all the drivers are gone, new operating system again. I'm going to have to put all my programs back on, no web history for all the articles that I have saved up on Brave. It's a pain in the ass. And it's a pain in the ass for this production, especially because, you know, I don't think I've done this in about 6 months, but usually if I have a story in my head and I try to look for it on Google, Google's already scrubbed it or deranked it by a ton. It's almost impossible. I was actually talking to Joe Hoft of the Gateway Pundit about this. Now my entire browser history, which I use more often than the Google search, is going to be gone bare minimum. So I got files to move. I got operating systems to install. All I can say is, Google, fuck you. How dare you? You are literally the worst, and I can only hope that all of your divisions, including Calico, the immortality division, are burned into the ground by the good people of this earth after they realize that you are just an extension of the media military complex. I don't even say industrial because, I don't even want to give them that much. And they're not doing anything in industry. They're just industrially oppressing us to the point.
They got their thumb on the scale, and it's gross because, like, seeing some of like the creators and people that my kids want to watch and stuff. Like, I feel like there is a lot of artificial inflation of popularity and numbers and viewership because there's some stuff that's just terrible. It's just terrible. No, there's nobody watching it. There's no way there's people are watching it.
Well, they'll
And
promote that stuff, right? That'll
yeah,
get it
that
on the
stuff
front.
gets promoted. That gets put in the algorithm. I guess that's the stuff that they'll feature on the home pages, but actual good stuff that people want to see gets buried. And
Absolutely.
it's criminal. It's criminal that platform can do that. It can just suppress art. That's what it is. I mean, people call it you're making content. You're a creator. Well, you're an artist. You're trying to figure out a way to express yourself and get paid for it.
You know,
And
Triller is now supposedly doing stuff with creators. The only reason I know that is because there was no UFC on this weekend. So I caught a multitude of other events. The one events were actually really good. They did back-to-back events. A lot of people aren't aware that you can actually stream those not only on replay, you can watch them for free now if you have Amazon Prime, but they actually play them live. You have to go to Amazon.com/OneChampionship or it won't come up in your feed, but then it'll immediately take you to all those things.
okay, so that's what I was asking on my show last night for the guys, is if it was free on Prime.
It is. 100% was
Okay.
free on Prime.
But it has to be through the web, or it's not available on the
So you
on
search it in
Fire
the
Stick?
app and you can't seem, it's very hard to find, right? But if you actually go on your phone and you just go, say you're logged in and you have the app on your phone, you're using like Chromecast or something. It takes you to the app after you go to Amazon.com/OneChampionship. It transfers you there, but it's almost impossible to find the feed. I was able to through apps that are on like your Xbox or your Chromecast. You would think that they'd want to put something like that, especially when there's no UFC on at all. And you're only competing with like, say, BKFC and
All they had was
pay-per-views.
bare knuckles.
Yeah, bare knuckles and like lower promotions that are on Fight Pass or local pay-per-view. You'd think you'd want to promote that, especially with the kind of card you had and Demetrius Johnson being some kind of a name. But they haven't done that. And I want to say this. You might as well get on it, because the only reason that I'm sticking around to Amazon Prime at this point at $150 a year, they banged me out this week for it. Let me repeat that. I'm paying the yearly fee up front. It's $148 and change. So it's $150 now. So it's more than $10 a month to have that service. Now, yeah, you want the 2-day or the same-day delivery, all those things, and maybe you make up for that with the free shipping and all that over the year. But as far as a streaming service, I mean, come on. Amazon Prime's good, but it's not that good. It's not $12 a month good. And at the same time, ESPN Plus is now
You still got to
$9.99 a
pay
month.
for the best movies.
Yeah, they don't even get. Well, ESPN Plus is now $9. Now it is $120 a year. You can pay $100 for the full year just to be able to rent or buy pay-per-views at $74.99 a pop. Talk about a technopoly, man. They are squeezing the hell out of everybody. And ESPN is really just an arm of Disney. That's how they're trying to get you into Hulu and the Disney. Yeah, I mean, you're spending $9.99 a month. You might as well spend the $13.99 a month and get the other two, right? That's what they tell you.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, these companies are doing what they want when they want. Remember when ESPN Plus first launched, it was, I believe, it was either $3.99 or $5.99. In short order, that went to $7.99 and now $9.99 a month. And they're going to plug out whatever they can. I do want to say, guys, we are going to be talking about everything in the title. Musk, population collapse, the moon, Snoopy, Artemis, and some other really, really disturbing stories, John, including this one.
There's some bare knuckle fights too that
I caught them. I caught both the BYB and the BKFC. And, those are fun fights, man. John Dotson looked unstoppable in there, huh? Did you see that?
Both of him and his brother both look really sharp.
John Dotson looked like he lost just a small step in MMA, which happens. He was a really, active, fast guy. And it looked like that speed went down a little bit. In bare knuckle, where you have 2-minute rounds and you're allowed to explode because they're like 3 to 5 round fights, depending. He looked like a vicious killer in there. I mean, granted, he didn't get clipped. He got away pretty clean.
The fight wasn't fast enough, or wasn't long enough for him to get hit. It was him being offensive and then the finish.
Yeah, very, very quick.
Very quick.
So those were fun fights. Another thing that was fun about that is you kind of get to see the skill levels of some of these people that are coming up. Like, they try to sell you like BKFC tried to sell you Paige Van Sant was going to be a bare knuckle fighter. Sorry, not up for that. Like, you're going against some girls that are rugged and tough. And then Taylor Starling went for the championship, and she's an attractive young woman, has a good story, single mother, has the attitude, the tattoos. She essentially gave up as soon as she got clipped.
She got hit once. Said, I looked to her corner, said, I can't. That wasn't her first bare knuckle fight, though.
No, she was 3-0. I think that was her fourth one. But she just stepped up to that level of competition, and I saw that woman win the championship fight. They played that as a preview to the BKFC event, and the girl she was fighting there was really tough. Looked a lot like Starling. I got tricked.
Because I started watching that, and I was like, "Did we miss it?" I was like, "No way, we missed it." I was watching the Cage Titans. I got a stream for the Cage Titans event, and so we were watching that, and then I was like, finally turned. I was like, "Oh, the bare knuckle should be starting about now," and then saw that, and I was like, got confused, couldn't understand what was happening. Did I read the clocks wrong? And then it was a different girl.
And meanwhile, during the day, started about 2 p.m. Eastern time, KSI, who is this YouTuber that's big in the UK and Europe, globally.
Too.
Yeah, he fought two guys. And, he fought two fights, beat them both up. I didn't watch those. But I guarantee that his pay-per-view numbers were huge, especially for a weekend like that. So, a lot of people want to shit all over these guys. I say make that money, take that money. People are willing to pay for it. I don't mind it.
What do you think a promoter is? Promoter just is somebody who gets people to take part in an event. All right? If you're a fight promoter or a club promoter, you're trying to get a bunch of people to go check something out. Like, the promoter isn't supposed to be that big of a deal. The name of the fighters, the people who you're watching fight, they're the ones that are supposed to matter. We live in bizarro world in MMA. Absolute bizarro world, where the promoters use the fighters to promote the promotion.
What? I want to get into, we'll probably do it later, McGregor and his demonry and his latest fiasco, where if you don't understand that this guy is just a bad person, he's a bad person. I want to put that out there. Have you seen this yet, John?
No, what is this?
So this moron, and he's low IQ, folks. He's not a smart person. He's got smart people around him. He knew how to speak. He'd grown up around gangsters. All right, and that's the real deal. Look it up. Look at how many times he was involved in criminal activity before his MMA career. Look at who he's involved with during his MMA career. This fucking moron posted not only a picture of him on his boat where you could see him lying back and his waistline open, but then an Instagram story where he's clearly receiving oral sex on his yacht. You might argue that head that's bobbing is D. You might argue it's not. I don't give a flying fuck. The bottom line is that is not how somebody should behave. And look, you're free to do whatever, but he's portrayed as a family man by the UFC. Oh, me family. I'm in a purple suit with me baby. Oh, me and D love each other. We love each other. Bullshit. It's bullshit. They had the guy as a toy in a kid's room that came to life in a Reebok ad while he was facing a multitude of rape allegations. Disney knows this. He's their biggest UFC draw. They want to suck another couple, fights out of him so they can get another 20 to 50 billion. They don't care about you. They don't care about the truth. The guy's a scumbag. I'm going to do it right now. I'm praying to the good Lord above that at some point I am just going to be in an area or at a fight or an event where Conor McGregor is there and he is accessible. And I promise you, I promise all of you, I will walk up to him on film and I will clearly state to him, I'll be, Conor, now that the UFC, Disney, and others have covered up you being a violent multiple rapist, do you think you could kill somebody and get away with it? That is exactly what I'm going to say to him, and you're going to see the goddamn reaction. And if anybody knows how I can get in that room with him or where and when, I'm on it. I'm done. I'm sick of it. The guy almost killed a girl. He's disgusting. You can go watch my videos on it. You can go check out my thread. Not quite as disgusting as the guy we're about to talk about right now, John, but pretty disgusting. And now we're going to get into the news blitz. We're going to move away from MMA a little bit. This is why you don't let pedophiles out of jail. This is why you don't rebrand them minor attracted persons. And this is why they don't stop until they die. Florida sex offender tried to buy a child in a parking lot for $100,000. There he is. I want everybody to get a really good look at him. He had already been arrested in 2018 on charges that he tried to buy an 8-year-old girl from her mother in Port Orange. All right? So this guy's done this before. And when he was asked about it via the police, he laughed about it. He's like, yeah, prison forever. You don't get out. If you're trying to buy children, you go to prison forever. That should not be. That's not controversial. That's not right wing. That's not conservative. That's any thinking human being that either has children or values the life of a child. I mean, what do you think about this story?
That's it's gross. How does that happen? How do you try to buy a baby and they stop watching you, or it's I don't get that. How does that help society out? He tried to buy a baby. Like, did he go to some kind of therapy? Did he get a stamp of approval that he's not somebody who wants to buy babies anymore? It just sounds broken. It's just broken.
Well, let's think about that Ezra Miller story, right? So for those that don't know, Ezra Miller is the person that has been cast as the Flash. He's in a bunch of the DC movies, and they're done. They shot this entire movie. It's pretty much been edited as far as I know, and they're going to release it, okay? Ezra Miller got arrested recently, okay? He clearly looked like he was grooming and doing worse to children, had allegations against a non-binary child. First of all, you're a terrible parent if your kid is non-binary. I just want to let you know that. You have no business being a parent. You're disgusting, you're revolting, and there's no validity to it. Sorry. You're an abuser yourself.
You're abusing. Yep. You're using your child for some kind of marks with people.
I mean, you're mentally ill. God knows how many SSRIs you're on, what situation you're from, but you're totally out of it, okay? But maybe you're not out of it enough when your 12-year-old non-binary kid is allegedly assaulted by a grown fucking man. And yet, Ezra Miller doesn't go to jail. And then Ezra Miller has another girl who he goes on the run with when she's 18, who he was caught trying to get into bed with her when she was 14, okay? And nothing's done there. So then he finally gets arrested. He's allegedly running around with a bulletproof vest, saying he's being stalked by the FBI and the KKK. He's out of his fucking mind. Okay, let's just get that out of the way. He's totally out of his mind, but hey, it's Hollyweird, and they embrace that shit. And does he get in trouble for the kids?
Misunderstood artist.
Yeah. No, he goes to rehab, John. Oh, he's in rehab. He's trying to clean it up. And DC, mark my words, they're going to release that movie. They're not going to scrap it like they did Batgirl. They're not going to take another $90 million hit. They're going to release that movie and try to make money off it. That's how sick the system is. All right? So, don't worry. We're going to get to the Musker nuts. We're going to get to population collapse. But there's just so much else out there that I wanted to discuss today. Here is Greg Gutfeld. Okay, now Greg Gutfeld, I've never been the biggest fan of him. I used to watch Red Eye every once in a while before he had the Gutfeld show and was on the 5. And for those that don't remember what Red Eye was, it was this live Fox program that I believe it was on either at 1 or 2 a.m. live on Fox News. So, for people like myself who worked in bar industries, who worked in late night pizza industries. You'd get home and it would be on. And you didn't want to maybe watch a rerun of the news. You wanted to watch something fresh. Mm-hmm. He was always pro-military, pro-war on terror, very, very neocon-esque. And Andrew Breitbart used to be on the show all the time. You know, a lot of these conservative outlets that have actually been doing some really good work via January 6th and the Biden administration and the Hunter Biden laptop, they look at Breitbart as some type of a hero. And look, he started to get it a little bit more. You know, you have those tweets where he's calling out Podesta as a human trafficker that people have pointed to. But he never got to the point where Gutfeld is now. And I'm giving Greg Gutfeld credit, where he said, I was fooled. I was wrong. The Patriot Act is a bad thing. Homeland Security is a bad thing. I never thought they would use it for anybody but Muslims. Now, that type of thinking even then, if you thought they were just going to use it against Muslims, bad type of thinking.
It's still fucked up. It's still messed up. I always thought they were going to use it against people I don't like.
Exactly. And that's the naivety, right? That so many people don't realize until it's them or their group or somebody that they loved, that these tools are in the toolbox for everybody.
Yep.
For everybody. So we're going to play this very, very short clip. Greg Gutfeld does his mea culpa.
I have to admit how wrong I was about the Patriot Act and the Iraq War. All those people from Glenn Greenwald to Matt Taibbi to Dave Smith to Kat Timpf, you know, I dismissed their ominous warnings that when what the government could do to Muslims, they could do to you. Yeah. And I never believed that, but I'm wrong, and so I'm eating crow.
Well,
and it tastes delicious.
So again, I'm glad he did that. I watch Gutfeld sometimes. It's, you know, he's kind of a funny guy. He's not totally terrible. There's kind of an open discussion. He recently had Alex Lee Moyer on, who did the Alex Jones film that you know, Alex's War, that's gotten a lot of good traction, et cetera, et cetera. But it's like, how much are you still getting wrong, Greg? And I want to reiterate what you just said. Even if you thought it was just for Muslims, that's the wrong mindset. Again, we're supposed to have freedom of religion in this country, all right? And that means you can be a Muslim. That means you can be a Hindu. That means you can be into Shintoism, if you like. All right? That even means you're allowed to be a Satanist and Luciferianism. Do what you want. All right? I'm saying this. I don't care what you want.
He wasn't even like, I thought they were going to use it against, you know, foreigners coming into our country illegally. It was just like Muslims.
Muslims down the line. Muslims. You know, we played yesterday Bill Maher. So Bill Maher, we played the clip yesterday, called out the Hunter Biden laptop, called out Rob Reiner for being a total stooge, and Rob Reiner makes a straw man argument.
People on the right can legitimately say that the election was meddled with, was stolen, 100%. Because if you can say that the news reporting on Hunter Biden's laptop as serious news, like it really happened as it was happening, would have swayed enough votes that Trump would have won. You can't tell me that's not factual. It is, and people know it, and people are saying it. and what's his name? The intellectual atheist, Sam
Harris. Sam Harris basically said, "Hey,
that hypocrite." You know, he's saying, "Hey, yeah, I totally support them rigging the election that way." Like, they were right. If anybody wants to say that,
he said that he could have had bodies in his basement and he wouldn't have cared.
It was, yes, yeah.
He said they could have had bodies in the basement.
If you don't think that messing with the press and suppressing information is rigging an election, I'm sorry. I don't know what else to talk to you about, because we just do not see reality as the same.
And at the same time, you have Zuckerberg not getting any pushback from Rogan, admitting that the FBI came and talked to him. And now the FBI is openly saying, oh, we do this on the regular, but we never specifically said the laptop. We said it was going to be a dump like the DNC dumps. Well, the DNC dumps by WikiLeaks weren't a hack, weren't foreign actors, wasn't Russian propaganda. And Seymour Hersh knew that. And guess what? No one wanted to publish Seymour Hersh's story on it. That's how bad the press is. This is not a new phenomenon. This has been going on for a very, very long time. We are on the eve, in just 2+ weeks, of the 9/11 21st anniversary. People that were born that day will legally be able to drink. Okay? And I did another program today where with a doctor who actually mentioned anthrax really quickly. And I want to remind everybody out there who forgot. Anthrax was mailed to members of the media and politicians with 9/11 and death to America and death to Israel, okay? All put in the letters. And what did they say? Oh, terrorism, terrorism, terrorism. Blame several people. Then they did the lab work on it, John, and guess what? Fort Detrick, Maryland. Let me repeat that for you. The anthrax was made in Fort Detrick, Maryland. No one's talking about that. Nobody. It ain't fake news, folks. Took years for that to come out. So this is not new. And
Brushed under the rug.
Just sweep it away. Oh, no, we don't have a bioweapons program that develops anthrax in a micronized format that could only be done in a specific lab. No. And now, with the Shady Hook, Alex Jones decisions, what are the new talking points? They talk about 9/11 conspiracies and 9/11 truthers because they don't want you questioning any damn thing. Not one thing. So
I don't want you to look back into the past at all.
I don't want to go to this before we go to that other story. We'll get to that one in a moment. And don't worry, guys. Muskernuts, population collapse, Snoopy, all coming up. I want to let everybody know 100% right now, for those that don't know or think this is real, Gavin McInnes hoaxed his arrest. Let me repeat that for everybody out there that doesn't know yet. Gavin McInnes hoaxed his arrest. So, this is a big issue for me because I know a lot of people out there, John, that like Gavin. I've watched Gavin speak. I am pro free speech for everything. Okay, I want to know who people are and what they really think. Now, did you see the clip? It's been going around 4 or 5 days now, where in the middle of his broadcast, supposedly, somebody comes in. They come in and he has this conversation about them talking to his lawyers. We'll talk to our lawyers. And he's like, well, I didn't let you in. Then he goes off camera and he's gone. And it ran for, I think, like 12 hours, dead air, just the set in front of us, and the live stream kept going and going and going. Okay? And so many people out there immediately broke out their jump to conclusions, Matt, and said the FBI had arrested him. Now, Will Sommers, who I'm no fan of at all, he used to follow me on Twitter. He stopped following me on Twitter when I started calling him out on his nonsense. He had done some video work on Epstein in particular. And Will Sommers started reporting on it. All right. And then people that worked with Gavin, one of which was a blue check mark, came out and he said that Gavin had been arrested and his only crime was speaking out against the establishment. Well, I'm here to tell you guys that I know for 100% fact. I don't talk about super secret sources, and I'm not going to give you my source for this, but I know 100% Gavin McInnes never got arrested. And he's currently hiding out, and this is all an elaborate prank. I want people to realize, I think it's now been 4 days, okay? There's not one police report. There has not been one public discussion about what law enforcement agent got him, where he is, or what he's charged with. You know why? Because he hasn't been charged with anything, and he hasn't been arrested. Okay? Not at all. Has not. That's all made up. And he set this stage. I'm going to play this clip really quickly. He set this stage right here the day before by saying that he believed police officers were outside of his home watching him. Again, whether or not that's true, I don't know, but it seems like it's part of the bit. So we're going to play that part right here.
But this didn't seem like that. This seemed like cops.
In front of your house specifically? Or,
Yes.
Or like in
No,
the...
definitely in front of my house.
What the fuck?
looking at me.
Like this? Or like this?
Like this.
That's bad.
Confirming my address kind of vibes. Anyway.
Anyway, so he set the stage there. Now, I want to let everybody know, Gavin McInnes has a lot of scratch, all right? He's not a poor man.
Yeah.
He didn't have to go and work for Rebel News, where he really got famous, the Ezra Levant media operation. He was a co-founder on Vice. He'd made a little bit of money there. He was smart with his money. This is a multi-millionaire that just smoletted the entire right, okay? He did that. Now, you can argue, well, he wanted to see who was going to be on his side. He wanted to see who was going to report the fake news. I come from a place of honesty, okay? I don't love pranks like this because you're being deceptive on purpose, and you don't know after that deception when you can trust somebody or not, whether the reporting is real or
I
where.
think a lot of what these people are doing nowadays, though, isn't considered to them reporting. I think a lot of people are just consider themselves entertainers. They're an entertainer making content, so they don't have any moral feeling of responsibility towards honesty. I don't think.
Well, you know, there's a lot of people out there that say, well, they're not being honest with us, so we have to use the same tools. Well, I'm telling you right now that truth is the ultimate power, is the ultimate expression of love for humanity. Because the truth is hard sometimes. It's not easy to tell the truth all the time, especially about a lot of these issues. And especially in the age of COVID-19 84, how many people have you seen go along to get along or expand upon a known lie because it's accepted by the masses as reality? But it has nothing to do with reality. It is the inversion of reality, okay? No. What you want is somebody that's going to tell you the hard truths and say, look, I'm sorry that this happened to you or that this is going on, but these are the real motives. And time and time again, especially with those type of policies, you just had Kathy Hochul, you know, the puppet governor of New York. Have you seen this video? We might have to pull this up, where she admits.
Talking about telling people to move to Florida because you're not real New Yorkers. It's like Joe Biden telling black people they're not really black.
I wish it was that. Let's do it live because I didn't have this one queued up. We're just going to type in Kathy Hochul. Wow. Let's see if we can pull that up. Man, we got all the big ones. This is, let's see, videos. We're doing it live. Thumbs it up, subscribe, and share. Anytime, let's go within the past week. And is this it here? Nope, that's not it. Is this it? Yep, here it is right here. 16 seconds of, I can't believe she's getting away with saying this right now. I mean, think about what she's saying and what she did to your children, okay? And what they continue to do to our children and the populace there in New York. Here we go.
What a mistake that was. Women couldn't go to their jobs. They lost their jobs, or they thought they're back at their jobs, and one child in a classroom tests positive. The whole class goes home for a week and a half. I mean, it was chaos, nothing short of chaos. And it just seems to have not ended.
Well, see, that's not even the clip that I was talking about. I want the wow clip. Oh, here it is. It's on the top. Sorry. Here we go.
And the decisions were made to have all the kids go home and learn remotely. Wow. What a mistake that was.
So, Little Miss Authoritarian that wanted passports for everything and multiple boops for everyone is now admitting
it was a mistake, but there's no consequences.
None.
No consequences.
Wow. Again, talk about an inversion of reality. That woman's never been elected, okay? She's never been elected, and she is running one of the most important states in the country. So let's talk about more of, basically running this country into the ground. I want to show people this. This, and by the way, this will pass on YouTube, but it's only because they're illustrations, and normally I would censor these things. 9 to 12-year-olds. This is 4th grade through 6th grade. This is what they're pushing on your kids. I want to repeat. This is what they're pushing on your kids. All right? It says for ages 10 and up. It's perfectly normal. Changing bodies. No, that's not perfectly normal. That's the transhumanist agenda. I promise you that. Growing up, sex, gender, and sexual health. And then we have an illustration of a man in bed with a woman. Again, no place for a 10-year-old. You know where they're supposed to see a man with a woman? When they go into their parents' bedroom in the morning and wake them up. You know, after a hard night's sleep. That's what they're supposed to do. Then, of course, underneath, it's a man kissing another man in bed. All right? Next, we have again, 10 years old and up. I want to repeat this. 10 years old and up. Now, although they try to sneak a nipple in the middle one here, you have a woman essentially riding another man naked. Not fucking okay to me. I want to make that clear. Not okay for a 10-year-old. Then you have 2 women straddling one another, and of course, a man behind another man in a sexual position. They are sexualizing your kids on every single level. They are making cartoons to normalize this behavior. You want to know why that guy is still able to try to buy children? Because this shit's going on. All right? They're pushing this shit. I mean, what's your reaction to seeing that, Fitch?
It's wild. Like, I'm going to be going through all of my kids' books. Of course, they're in a Catholic school, so I don't think we have to worry about much of this. But
I mean, you just never know anymore. You really just never know. Okay?
You never know.
So now we'll get to the Muskernuts. We'll get to the gravy train with biscuit wheels. 180 people watching over on YouTube. Can we get 100 thumbs up? Okay?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Population collapse due to low birth rates is a much bigger risk to civilization than global warming. Now, yeah, because guess what? Global warming, at least the way they tell it, and climate change is imagination land. So therefore, the only threat to humanity are the impositions that a predator class would put on the rest of us, the serf class, the servant class, the peasant class. That's the danger, because there is no threat from actual global warming or man-made climate change or us using carbon. I want to get that out of the way. So, yeah, he's absolutely correct. He even says on this afterwards, mark these words. But then he comes in, and I do think global warming is a major risk. I'll bet you do, because without it, you wouldn't have your little sustainable future and your subsidies from the government where you could have Tesla make money even though almost nobody fucking buys them. All right? Of course you're going to promote that. I'm going to say it again. Musk is not your friend. And while you think that NASA is taking us to the moon and the stars and Mars, what they're really doing is they are partnering with Elon Musk to send up Starlink and the weaponized Starlink satellites Blackjack into space for space warfare. Okay? Alone, the Ukraine has 12,000 Starlink units above it, well beyond any other nation in the world. We don't have 12,000 Starlink satellites in a geographic area that is much bigger than the Ukraine, in a nation where Elon Musk does business. So what does that tell you? What do you think they're really using them for? We know what they're using them for. The military, we've shown the pictures here, are posing with the Starlink satellites. Russia is accusing Musk of arming these people and being a part of this warfare, and they're openly not only using those satellites to geolocate enemy targets, but then hook them into Ghost and Sidewinder drones, which then penetrate the targets and kill them. He helps kill people. Let me put this down for you again. Elon Musk helps kill people. Okay? That's the hard truth a lot of people don't want to hear because he's talking about population collapse. Guys.
Well, he knows how many people he's going to kill.
He's got a great
he knows he's going to kill a lot of people. He's like, guys, like population collapse is a major issue because we're planning on killing a lot of people. So you better start fucking having some babies.
I mean, good luck out there. We're
going to run out of people to blow up. He's going to go out of business. That's why he's concerned about it. He wants more people because if we don't keep rebuilding our nations, he's going to have less people to kill. He's going to lose money.
A lot of money. He's, again, and you notice they're going after Kash Patel in this, big, what is it, the search warrant for Trump. That's like 80% blacked out. But you get to know about Kash Patel. Kash Patel has been on this Reawaken America tour. He's extremely intelligent. I haven't personally interacted with him yet, but I'm going to. And he revealed on Gutfeld, by the way, like 3-4 months ago, that the number one defense contractor on the planet is Elon Musk. Why isn't that headline? Think about that. The number one defense contractor on the planet is Elon Musk. And you're listening to the Musker-do? The Musker nuts? No. No, it's time to wise up and realize that NASA just had one giant step backwards. No shit. Okay? And I want to make it extremely clear. Because I report on NASA being a fraud, I don't think that the Earth is flat. I don't think that. I've looked at the so-called proofs. I've watched the videos. If that's disappointing to some people, sorry, but I don't buy it. At the same time, I am not naive enough to think that rocket technology is going to take us 250,000 miles into space to the moon, and then another 250,000 miles back through space without that rocket launch. Let me repeat that. Without the rocket we're talking about, okay? So everybody can take a look at it. The Artemis rocket here, all right? It is 32 stories high. All right, it's 32.
How does it compare to the older rockets?
So right around there, these are basically Saturn V engines. There's nothing.
Have you ever been to one of the launch sites or seen one of the just the treads? Like you see the treads of the platform that rolls the thing out there. They're ginormous.
They're massive.
It's like 2 tons per tread.
Massive. Okay, and I think people need to understand that. For instance, what you're looking at here is the rocket, but then the actual spacecraft that we're really discussing is that which is on the side, and even that has other rockets on it that are going to deploy off of it. It's going to become much smaller. Basically not even a story size once it supposedly reaches the moon. Now, this is not a manned moon mission, obviously, but who are they going to send? Snoopy. Snoopy was going to the moon. On Artemis. Nice little space flight awareness, NASA, and they're going to put dummies in there and a stuffed Snoopy doll, everybody. But guess what? They didn't launch it yesterday. They were supposed to launch it. Now, I want you to really ponder this for a moment. Rocket technology has never been utilized by any other nation state to go to the moon. Nobody's used it. The Russians were kicking our frickin' arnis in everything space. They got the first satellite into space. They got the first man into space. They got the first woman into space. They got the first multi-manned craft into space. And then Apollo came in. And by the way, it wasn't just Apollo, the Gemini program prior to that. Also, the year before the first Apollo moon landing, they supposedly went around the moon and sent us video of it. I think it was like on Christmas or something. You can go watch it, and came back successfully. Okay, and they didn't land, but they went all the way to the moon, and they came back. They couldn't even launch this thing, okay? They couldn't launch it because of lightning storms. Now, I want you to just let's let him play it right here. This is Mike Sarafin talking about why they canceled Artemis yet again.
Management team meeting. The operations team out of the Launch Control Center entered their launch countdown Saturday morning. And then Saturday afternoon, we had a couple of lightning strikes out at the pad. We have a 32-story tall rocket out there, and there were lightning strikes on towers 1 and 2. And our technical teams very quickly resolved that there were no issues with the vehicle through timely analysis and timely data assessment.
I want people to think about that for a second. Now, we're dealing with stuff in our own atmosphere, okay, in our own little world, our own little realm that is just weather. It's just simple lightning that we've studied for literally hundreds, if not
energy flash.
little energy flash. We've studied for hundreds and thousands of years. Now, they want you to believe that not only are we getting beyond any kind of lightning or things in our atmosphere, all right, but then we are piercing through our atmosphere into a vacuum of space. Now, we're not even mentioning all the Starlink satellites, the space junk, and oh yeah, the weapons systems that are in Earth's rotation. Okay, we're not even talking about that. In fact, when I was going to the last speaking event in Batavia, New York, I was listening to Annie Jacobson's The Pentagon's Brain, which you can buy today for $2.99, guys. Spend the $3. Give Annie Jacobson your money. Please, please, please. Check this out. So they start talking about what it takes to even go into rotation of space. All right? Guys, you have to have a craft that gets up there and then has to be at the right trajectory and the right force, or it just either doesn't stay up there or is completely destroyed by the forces around it. It'll explode. And we have seen how many explosions via rocket technology even today. So if you don't think that...
A lot of explosions.
So if you don't think that... I mean, think about it. There's a problem with the launches. And then there's a huge problem once you actually get beyond, the 400 miles or so of space that every other nation has done that's advanced, like Russia and China. No one's gone beyond that 400 miles, by the way. They're telling you that 240,000 miles plus, it's just smooth sailing. There's nothing out there.
Once you get past the brakes, you're all right.
And then they can land on it.
It's a very good question. Why? Why is something that we did back then in the 60s, was it 69 or something?
Yeah, 69.
Something that we were able to do in 69. We had people walking on the moon in 69. But we can't recreate it on any level now. You'd think you'd have like a satellite drone you could fire up and fly around yourself or something. Technology would move that fast. Every technology with everything else is moving fast. Why isn't there, some kind of
I would argue there is
rocket?
I would argue that, obviously the Strategic Defense Initiative, and even maybe during the Apollo years, other propulsion systems may have been used to go much further than even the moon. I don't know. And they may have been remotely or they may have been manned. I don't know. But I can assure you that it is fiction to believe. I'm reading in the comments section that some of these rockets can land back to Earth now. No, they fucking can't. No, they fucking can't. All right? There are some tests where you will see these rockets with propulsion systems go up and then come back down and land. A lot of them, they explode, okay? But they don't go 250,000 miles into space and come back and then land via the rocket. That's imagination land, all right? Again, other propulsion systems, other technologies, I don't know about. I think we've been well beyond what we publicly are aware of. But when you see NASA put out, oh, look at this picture, I think, what was it, Saturn? And that new blue picture, I think it was Saturn or one of these planets. Guys, that's Photoshop. You go look at the raw images that these telescopes take, and guess what? They're black and white. They're all black and white. A lot of them are extremely blurry, and they openly take them into Photoshop and give them their color. All right, they openly do that. They up-res them. I don't know what we have in our secret space program, but I'll tell you this. The vast majority of it is militarized, and they're just trying to erect heroes. We'll see if I mean, think about it. Who the fuck cares who goes to the moon if they can actually do it in this Artemis program? But they're making about the first woman of color will be on the moon. What? Who gives a flying rat's ass? This is about humanity as a whole. I could give a rat's ass whether it was an Asian man, an Asian woman, a black man, I don't care. Nobody should care. Again, if there was any validity to it, that's what you would care about, the actual space exploration, what you're bringing back from the moon, why the moon is so unique in comparison to the rest of the planets and stars that we see in our universe. Those are the questions you should be asking, but you're not trained to ask those questions. You're trained to be like, why isn't there a black woman on the moon? Like, what? What planet are we on? So, I just, when I see this stuff, boy, it drives me nuts because so many people have bought into the cult of the masquerade of Elon Musk, and it is nothing like you think. So, Fitch, let's talk some upcoming fights, huh? We talked about some of the fights earlier this week. UFC is back. I believe it's a fight night. Excited about that. Bellator, I don't think, comes back until the first or second week of September. What are your thoughts? Bellator hasn't been doing it a lot.
Bellator is fighting anyways. I never, I never hear about the Bellator fights until it's like the day of or the weigh-ins. But yeah, what do we have? We have Gain Tuivasa, Shui, coming up in the heavyweight. That'll be interesting. Gagne losing to the big man last time, Ngannou. A lot of people think he's going to be the guy at heavyweight.
I don't know, man. I think we'll see what the wrestling looks like, because obviously that's what Gon's going to try to do with Tuivasa. Mm-hmm. I'll say this: don't let Tuivasa stick around, because let's say
don't let him. Yeah, you should not be fighting Tuivasa in the late rounds. That mistake,
big mistake. And he's not a one and done puncher where he punches himself out in the first couple of rounds. He sticks around and grits it out. And sometimes when his opponents are literally just too tired, he clips him and it's over. And I'm kind of calling this fight, unless Tuivasa is able to clip him early, which I don't think he's going. I think Gon's going to be pretty smart. He's got a decent chin. I think we're looking at a third, maybe fourth round knockout by Tuivasa after maybe some dominant rounds by Gon. Because if Gon's smart, first of all, I think he is going to go the wrestling route. And I guess we'll see. But I think he's going to go with the wrestling route.
He's got the ability to leg kick and stay outside too.
That's true.
With a big puncher like Tuivasa, I'd beat over those legs a little bit, make it a little bit harder for him to sit down, and then you can start wrestling after you've made him limp a little bit if you needed to.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? I think that his fighting style loans itself very well to the one championship rules. We talked a little bit about one championship in the beginning, but one of the things I really love about the rule set there is if you're on the ground and you've got the guy down, it doesn't matter if he's a grounded opponent. You can throw knees and kicks to the head. And that's how DJ got finished a year and a half ago by Moraes, who he just rematched. And guess what? Although he was still on his feet, if you go to the replay, I'm not sure if you watched it, he caught him with a good hand and he backed him up. And it looked like he could have been like with a knee down or a butt down or any of that. He got that knee to the face. Even if he didn't put him out there, he would have been able to give him multiple knees to the face. And the bottom line is that changes the fight game so much.
Changes the fight immensely.
It's huge. It's huge.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
I think it's necessary because being able to knee somebody in the head on the ground allows for more incentive for passing guard. It allows for more incentive for the bottom guy to move. You've got to get away, because if you're just trying to hold on and get stood up, you stand the risk of possibly getting kneed really hard, you know. On top of that, if you can create space on top, you can control the feet. You can find ways to get to the head, kick the head, and find the find the finish fast. Stop letting the fights go long. That's what we all want. What the fans want. You want the fights to finish. You want the fights to be decisive. Like, add more tools. Let them use more tools. I'm all for headbutts too, man.
You know, I kind of like the headbutts too. A lot of people say that they're brutal, but hey, this is mixed martial arts. And,
Right.
you know, you've also already got guys that are grinding their head when they're in top position up against a cage. They've done that for a long time. Headbutts can be devastating, but, you know, there's a lot of inadvertent headbutts already with people just kind of grappling to the side and the sides of the head clash. I think, again, all the tools in the tool set. I don't want people getting hurt or injured for life, but this is mixed martial arts, man, and you should be able to use those tools. It's a fight. And you do a little show called Learn to Fight. Tell us what was on that.
I put up videos on if they come up Friday on Rockfin, Monday on YouTube. But I got some Learn to Fight videos where I find fights that are happening in the wild, people on the street, people wherever. I think today's was a couple girls in a parking garage throwing down. And I kind of break down the fights in a technical manner in ways that you could avoid the fight, why the fight shouldn't have happened. Some consistent things that you notice about fighting, like the girls in the parking garage. People generally don't really want to fight. And even if they started to fight, they kind of are looking for a way out of the fight. So if you can create space, if you can get a little space in between you and them, usually that's enough to make them want to kind of just not fight. They want to keep that space. So your job in self-defense is to not be in a fight. Your job is to get away uninjured. Okay, so creating space, you know, I take the machismo out of this, where you're like, oh yeah, you got to hit them first, and you gotta wreck these guys. You know, I'm more about avoiding conflict. Like, you're there at the bar to have a good time. You're not there to get in fist fights. If you want to get in fist fights, join a gym. There's lots of gyms out there where you can get into fights under controlled environment and not hurt yourself or anybody else.
JohnFitch.net is the website. Now, you also do personals, you travel. You got any of that coming up, my friend?
I'm always available if you're in the Bay Area for small groups, private lessons. And then I do seminars. I come and travel, do seminars. I don't have anything scheduled right now. I also have linked up with some guys that do some training of the police officers, do some police jiu-jitsu, help these guys understand, you know, what they're doing a little bit better. Almost all cases of police brutality are an example of somebody who didn't know what to do. They weren't taught what to do, and they just got emotional.
And emotions don't win fights. I can tell you that right now.
And they end up costing the city millions of dollars in lawsuits.
And you could injure or possibly kill you. I mean, forget about injury for life. I mean, there are some people that do not survive street fights. I know that's a hard lesson for people to learn, but it is an actual one. Mixed martial mindset has come to an end.
It's dumb.
Listen, man, I'm trying not
people
to.
People have knives. People, they just like, mind your business.
You know, there was a story, and I didn't cover it, but there were, and I should have, because it was a really weird story. But there was these 3 Dutch folks in Indianapolis, Indiana, actually, and they were here training for some military exercises. That was going to kind of be the story, right? But then, because I was like, what are they doing training here? But then there was an altercation outside of their Hampton Inn, okay, that had started somewhere else apparently, and they're in critical condition because they got shot. Okay, all 3 of them got shot. This happened a couple days ago, so I haven't gone back to it, but I'm gonna look in to see what happened. Number one, because I'm wondering what the military
can be dangerous.
You know, you think you're a tough guy, man. It doesn't matter if you have the military training. Have situational awareness. All right.
Well, it's probably illegal, like where they were, to have a gun, so they thought they were safe.
Well, yeah. I mean, again, ridiculous, folks. My films are Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, and New World Order Defined, and Shade the Motion Picture. They are free of charge. I'd like to watch them and share them. And remember, I'm plugging Annie Jacobson again. You get her great book, The Pentagon's Brain, for only $2.99 on sale on Kindle right now. You want to support this broadcast? Consider buying me a coffee, $5, $10, $15. It means the world to me. Odyssey, Rumble, Rockfin, and Podbean. That's where you can find me uncensored. So $9.99 a month or $99.99 for the year. We're almost at 62,000 followers over on that platform. Meanwhile, we've been on YouTube since 2007, and we only have 68,000. I just want people to realize that. Been here since 2007, been working my harness off, and somehow I continually get capped and censored. So I need your support. I need your help. That's how I'm able to go on the road. That's how I'm able to do this on a daily basis. I want to thank everybody that's done that. And Fitch, we'll see you next week for some more Mixed Martial Mindset.
Excellent. I'll check you guys later.
Later, everybody.